The sun hung low in the autumn sky, casting a golden hue over the small town of Stoneridge. The wind swept through the streets, carrying with it the crisp scent of fallen leaves. Time seemed to move as it always did, steady, unyielding, and inevitable. But for those who knew the legend, there was a flicker of hope hidden in the fabric of reality, a possibility that time could be bent, or even stopped. Alara was one of the few who believed. She had grown up hearing stories from her grandmother about a mysterious figure known only as the Keeper of Time. According to legend, the Keeper was an ancient being with the power to control time itself. In the old stories, people spoke of lost travelers who had encountered the Keeper at the edge of reality, in a place where time flowed differently. Some claimed to have bargained with him to reverse tragedies, freeze moments of bliss, or steal hours from an inevitable fate. As a child, Alara had been fascinated by the idea, but like most things from her youth, it faded into the background as she grew older. Yet now, as her father's health declined rapidly, the legend came rushing back to her with a force she couldn't ignore. Her father, once a strong and vibrant man, had been diagnosed with an aggressive illness. The doctors had given him mere weeks to live. Alara couldn't bear the thought of losing him. She had tried everything: medicine, specialists, holistic treatments, but nothing had worked. Time was slipping through her fingers, and she felt powerless to stop it. That was when she made her decision. Alara packed a small bag and set off into the forest beyond Stoneridge, heading for the ancient ruins her grandmother had spoken of. It was said that the Keeper of Time could only be found by those who were truly desperate, those willing to give up everything for a chance to alter the course of time. The forest grew denser as she walked deeper into it, the trees towering over her like silent sentinels. The air grew colder, and the sunlight dimmed until it felt as though she was walking through a dream. Hours passed, though she wasn't sure how many. Finally, she reached the ruins. The stone structure was ancient, covered in moss and vines, with symbols etched into its surface that seemed to hum with an energy she could feel in her bones. At the center of the ruins stood a large archway, its interior filled with a shimmering, silver mist. She hesitated for a moment, her heart pounding in her chest. This was it, the threshold between her world and the unknown. Taking a deep breath, Alara stepped through the archway. The air shifted immediately. The silver mist surrounded her, cool and otherworldly. When it cleared, she found herself standing in a vast, open space that seemed to stretch infinitely in all directions. There was no sky, no ground, just a soft, glowing light that bathed everything in a serene glow. In the distance, she saw a figure. He was tall, cloaked in dark robes, with a hood that obscured his face. In his hands, he held an hourglass, its sands flowing slowly from one chamber to the other. "You seek to stop time," the Keeper said, his voice echoing in the stillness. Alara's throat tightened. "Yes. My father is dying. I need more time with him." The Keeper studied her for a long moment, the hourglass in his hands glowing faintly. Time is a force that cannot be easily altered. To stop it, even for a moment, requires a great price. "I'll pay it," Alara said without hesitation. "Whatever it takes." The Keeper stepped closer, and she could feel the weight of his presence. "Be careful with your wish, child. Time cannot be taken without consequence. To stop time is to disrupt the balance of the universe itself. You must understand what you're asking." Alara nodded, though her heart raced. "I understand. I just need more time with him." The Keeper was silent for a long moment, then he extended the hourglass toward her. "Very well. Turn the hourglass, and time will stop for you. But remember, once time is stopped, it cannot be restarted without great loss. You must choose your moment carefully." With trembling hands, Alara took the hourglass from the Keeper. It felt warm in her grasp, pulsing with a life of its own. She bowed her head in gratitude, and when she looked up, the Keeper was gone. The vast, glowing space around her began to fade, and she found herself back in the ruins, the hourglass in her hands. When she returned home, her father's condition had worsened. He lay in bed, his breathing shallow, his skin pale. Alara sat by his side, clutching the hourglass, unsure of when to use it. Every moment with him felt precious, but she knew the keeper's warning echoed in her mind. Time could not be restarted without great loss. Days passed, and with each hour that slipped away, Alara's desperation grew. Finally, on a quiet night, as her father's breathing became more labored, she made her choice. With trembling fingers, she turned the hourglass. The world around her froze. The birds outside the window stopped mid-flight. The leaves on the trees hung in the air, suspended in time. Even her father's labored breath ceased, his chest no longer rising or falling. For a moment, Alara felt relief. She had stopped time. She had saved him. But as the silence stretched on, a cold realization crept over her. Her father was still. Too still. She touched his hand, but it was lifeless. His body had not healed. She had stopped time, but she had not saved him. Instead, she had trapped him, trapped both of them, in a frozen moment that could never move forward. Tears streamed down her face as she realized the true cost of what she had done. The keeper's warning echoed in her mind. Time was not meant to be stopped, not even for love. Alara sat by her father's side, the hourglass still in her hands, knowing that time would never move forward again. And in that endless, silent moment, she understood the truth. No one could stop the time, not without losing everything.